Hey y'all, this is Jake Hoot, and you're watching the Libby Show.
How did she do it? Do it.
Libby. Libby. Libby.
3, 2,
Libby.
1.
It's the Libby Show.
Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Libby Show. Super excited to have our guest on here today, Season 17 winner of The Voice, Jake Hoot, country artist. You've had a pretty intense past couple months.
I have. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been very good. I can't complain.
Well, so great to have you here. First, I want to congratulate you. You just got married.
So much.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy for you and that new life change, as well as releasing your new EP, Love Out of Time. Also features Kelly Clarkson, who released a duet with you on the song I Would Have Loved You. Stunning song. Really cool that she has been such a huge part of your career thus far. Talk about that whirlwind of an experience and what it's been like sharing this music with your fans.
Oh yeah. Well, I think, everybody tells me all the time, well, you kind of got into the music business at the wrong time, because I ended up winning, in December of 2019, walked away from my job in March of 2020, and everything shut down as far as music goes. And so we just, rather than getting upset or whatever, we just found other ways to stay creative. And that way I started writing a ton more music, and we got all that released and ended up writing a ton of really good songs. And so I was able to record it. And like you said, getting to record with Kelly, it was so cool because, of course, she's in LA and I'm here, and we're sending vocal recordings back and forth. But it just came together so perfectly. And then we flew out there for the music video, which was amazing. And, she's just such a professional. And so just to be a part of that, even though I had a hand in writing the song, I felt like I was the honored one to be a part of that song with her. And so she's such a powerhouse. So it was a great experience, and everything's been just so good. I know a lot of industries, including the music industry, kind of tanked, but God's been very good to me and my family, so I can't complain at all.
For sure. And can you speak more to that in terms of this past year, even though things haven't been at their best for the entertainment industry, how God has provided for you during this time, and aside from music, but just from your perspective? And even though people may say, oh, this is the wrong timing or that sort of thing, like, what does it mean to you that God's timing is above all in your experience? And
oh gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, you said it. God's timing is everything. And I've kind of lived by a rule over the last couple of years of just follow peace. And life can be very chaotic in whatever facet you're looking at. And I used to suffer from like really bad anxiety and stuff. But, from walking away from my job to getting out of a very, not the best relationship that I could have been in, every step of the way, God just kind of led me in peace. And then, aside from the music, I started dating and married, my now wife over the last year. And so, there's just been a lot of God moments of where you're kind of just questioning what's going on, and you're just like, all right, well, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right time for me to be doing it? And He has ways of answering that. And so it's just been really special to kind of lean into that more and more, especially over the last year. And I think everybody, has kind of leaned into it more and more as far as going, okay, I don't know where this is going, but we're just going to, write it out and see what happens. And so it's been interesting, and, we've still got a ways to go, I think, but it's getting better, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds.
Of course, and counting your blessings along the way, for
Absolutely.
sure. I want to talk really quickly about your audition on The Voice. I rewatched it today on YouTube, and I just find it so funny that Kelly Clarkson, in her head, you can see the wheels turning, and she's almost about to use her block, and just decides to do the one spin around to choose you to be on her team. Talk about your mentorship with her and what that was like learning from Kelly. Did you have any sort of expectations before going on stage to perform? If we get into
I think the only expectations were to not forget lyrics and to not screw it up somehow. Because I mean, there's just it's a very high pressure situation, and whereas on the cameras you see Kelly's brain working, you're just looking at the back of chairs and you're just like, a minute and a half worth of music is 3 hours. It seems like. But yeah, her mentorship. I tell everybody. I think. Well, I went into the whole process hoping that Blake would turn because I'm a huge Blake Shelton fan.
Right.
I've played his music for years now. And so when Kelly turned, people asked if I was disappointed, but I mean, I was just excited anybody turned for me, to be real. And then, as I got to know her more and more and just her knowledge of, her having gone through American Idol and already kind of knowing, the ropes when it comes to a singing competition. And of course, she just look at her career she's built. She had so much insight as far as, how to approach cover songs, because I think when you're a songwriter, you sing with a lot more convictions in songs that you write as opposed to cover songs. And so I kind of had to train my way of thinking of, even though I didn't write the song, singing it as if I did. And so, in every step of the way, she was just incredible. She's, I tell people she was a mama bear on there. She was the first one to congratulate you. She was the first one to go after somebody if they didn't treat you right or do something right for you. And so, from start to finish, it was just great.
I listened to a podcast a long time ago that she did on Spotify where she just shared her journey in music and her perspective. And she just seems like such I don't know if this is like a weird term to call her, but like a humanized celebrity. Like she's just so down to earth and has just been so grateful for those people that have come along in her life. And I'm sure being around that as you've gotten into this whole different stage of your career has been really cool to experience and relatable, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell everybody she's probably the most approachable celebrity I've ever met. She's just, if you didn't know who she was, you wouldn't be able to tell it off of her. She's just very personable. She talks to anybody and everybody and treats everybody like they're her best friend. And that's a good example for me. It's a good example for anybody who's trying to get into any kind of industry is, always remember where you come from and, and treat everybody the same. And so, yeah, she's great about that.
You released a song called Tennessee Strong. You're originally a Tennessee native, and I just want to hear what that song has meant to you a year later upon the tornadoes that happened in Nashville and how it affected those that live here.
Yeah, at the time when the tornadoes hit, they hit probably less than half a mile from where I lived. And somehow, miraculously, I slept through it. That was the only night I ever had my phone on silent, and it was me and my 5-year-old daughter, and we slept through it. And then we woke up to just a completely different world. And in Cookeville, Nashville, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, there was just so much destruction throughout Middle Tennessee. And so, I had to fly out the very next day for a missions trip, and I can just remember sitting there and just being kind of really overwhelmed and taken back by just not only the destruction, but by the spirit of Tennesseans to step up and help. And I can remember going and trying to donate water or food that next day, and all the places were filled up. And it's like there was a 3-hour wait in line to get in and donate blood, for the victims and stuff. And so that to me just spoke so much to the spirit of Tennesseans. And so when I wrote the song, that's kind of what it was based off of. It's like, hey, yeah, we're down, we're beat up, we're kicked around, whatever. But, you see more and more people rally together. And with it being over a year later, it's hard to believe that it's been a year since all that took place. And you go to the places that were affected, whether it was a neighborhood or, an establishment here in Nashville or whatever, and they're either gone or you just see remnants of it. And it's such a different, feel to it. But there's still that feel there, and it's just a special thing to kind of look back and, thank God that more weren't affected, but still kind of remember those who lost their lives and lost businesses and everything else.
Right, and I feel like those that have lived here for a while, most people knew someone or knew someone who knew someone that was affected by it. I was also too, I slept through the entire thing, woke up to 10 missed calls from my mom, and then had like a couple friends that just either lost their entire apartment or barely missed the storm affecting them, with more harm. So it's definitely, I think, brought the community together, and to see musicians and creatives really dedicate their time like you have is really encouraging and just shows how empathetic as a community we are here in Nashville.
Absolutely. Well, I think, I think in today's age with social media and, news and all this other kind of junk, you have so many negative spotlights and so many people in a negative spotlight, and all the bad people, they have, more of the spotlight than the good people. And so I think it's just so refreshing to me to sit and go, there's a lot of really good people out there, and whereas there's a big wave of, oh no, everybody's bad, assume the worst, this and that. When you see stuff like that, it just kind of, reignites that hope, of like, hey, there's a lot of good people out there that are willing to drop whatever to help a complete stranger. And so it's really special.
Exactly. Well, speaking of more positive news, I got to share, you and Kelly Clarkson did appear on the Today Show with Hoda and Jenna to chat about your duet, to chat about who you wrote the song with. I got to mention Jamie Floyd was one of the writers on I Would Have Loved You, and she is just one of my favorite people. She's been here on the show. So talk about your songwriting relationship with her and then the other writer that was on the song.
Yeah, absolutely. So I co-wrote the song with Jamie Floyd and Dean Sams, a piano player for Lone Star. Dean and I had been writing for a while, and he had been writing with Jamie for a while, and he just kind of called a meeting for all three of us to come together. And, I think saying I co-wrote the song is loosely termed. I think both of them kind of wrote the song, and I was just there. I maybe offered one word, but it was such a great thing. And like you said, I think everybody who knows Jamie says Jamie's their favorite person, She's one of their favorite people, and her and Jimmy are such a special couple that, I love to death. And getting to share that with her and then watch how that song from creation has kind of blossomed into what it is, whether it's appearing on the Today Show or, whatever it is, wherever we played it and whatever accolades it's gotten. It's just so special because Jamie and Dean are such humble people that, they both have really good success in their songs. And to see how excited they get and how much encouragement they offer through every little thing with this song has just been really special. And so to kind of see how it's grown and, getting to talk about it on the Today Show, which I would have never thought in a million years I would have got to do something like that, has just been really cool. And so I'm excited for what's to come, but even if nothing else happens past this point, it's been better than I could have asked for. So we've had a good time with it.
For sure. And I got to say, you have such a great voice. I know that Kelly mentioned that you sound like Ronnie Dunn, but I want to hear who some of your idols are. Vocal wise, maybe songwriting wise, who you look to for inspiration. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. First off, I appreciate that. I think as far as vocal wise, I think anybody would be crazy not to mention Chris Stapleton in any kind of argument when it comes to vocals. But I love Chris Stapleton. I love the Eagles are probably my favorite band of all time. And so I've always kind of tried to mold a lot of my writing / harmonies after them. And as far as songwriting, I think right now, obviously Luke has written some stupid good songs. But I think between Luke and, of course, Jason Isbell are probably two of my favorite writers right now. I love Jason's style and everything. But honestly, in Nashville, there's so many good writers, so it's hard to narrow it down. But those are probably my top.
Yeah, and I got to make one mention. Chris Stapleton is phenomenal, and I actually have a framed. I actually should go get it and show it to you because I feel like when Chris released "Sometimes I Cry," this is really bad. I think it was when he just released the single, and it was like right before. It was when he was famous in Nashville, and that it took forever for the world to recognize that he needed to be in front of everybody doing his solo thing. But he recorded "Sometimes I Cry," and I got to go hear him perform it live. We had to turn in our cell phones. It was like super like, we're recording this and we're going to give you the recording and you can't copy it, that sort of thing. Really, really cool personal experience. But after that, he sent out a photocopy, like a thank you note to everybody that attended. And it happens to be that in the, wow, that ring light's making it. But if you can kind of see it.
Wow.
So he spelled my name Libbey, which is still okay. I will take
it. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. You can misspell it, mispronounce it. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
He literally said Libbie, and I would have been totally cool with it. But What's funny is in this photo, I ended up in the photo and I thought that they just sent out photos of different people. Turns out I'm in like several of these framed photos in different people's offices.
Wow.
row because I went in for a meeting one time and I was like, oh wait, he also has that same photo. So anyways,
So
I
in
thought
other words, you're kind of on the level of Chris Stapleton right now because you ended up in all the pictures. I mean, come on.
I can't believe it. He's in it. But yeah, I can definitely relate to being a huge fan of him for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, he can sing whatever he wants. He and Kelly are kind of like, in my opinion, the two that can cross into whatever genre they want and they're going to kill it, no matter what they sing.
I know, it's unbelievable. Something that I thought was really interesting about you in terms of the voice, you broke a couple records on the show, which I thought was amazing. Highest charting coach duet in the history of the show. You had more songs in the top 10 of iTunes country chart than any other artist on the history of the show, and the highest stream artist every week on the show. What is that like to hear that? Like to be listed in breaking records on a show like The Voice?
Well, I think every time I've heard about it, even when I was on the show, I didn't necessarily believe it. I was like, how in the heck did that happen? Somebody miscalculated something. But as far as what it means to me, there's nothing more humbling than being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, whether it's on a TV show or you're putting out your own music and people support it and people buy it and people love it and people talk about it. There's just nothing more humbling. And so anytime I think about that, it's so easy to just kind of get emotional and just go, holy crap, I can't believe it. Seems like forever ago, but it also seems like it was yesterday. And to think that many people got behind what I was doing, is just incredible. And so all those records and things have just been amazing to hear about and kind of, remember back, when they happen. But definitely hoping to break a few more records at some point, but we'll see, when that happens.
I think you will, most definitely. Talk about the name of your EP, Love Out of Time, and where you came up with that title.
Yeah, so Love Out of Time, I had gone through a divorce and kind of hit my lowest point in life. Of course, my daughter was around 2 at the time, and just a very dark period in my life. Well, I went on this missions trip and God kind of kicked me in the rear end and was like, all right, it's time to get up and, keep going. And had this, ended up going through a period and then ended up kind of having this massive crush on this girl. And it just wasn't the right time. I wasn't fully healed. She wasn't in the mindset to date. And so tried to date for a few months, didn't work, kind of just said, all right, well, it's just not the right time. And around that time is when I wrote the beginning of this song. And I just thought, it's a love misplaced in time. One person loves this other. And for nobody's fault in particular, it just isn't the right time. You talk about God's timing and stuff. And so funny story is that girl I ended up marrying her just a couple weeks ago. And, we kind of reconnected, a couple years after that. And it was just the right time and it ended up working out. And so Love Out of Time is, along with I Would Love You, are probably 2 of my deepest songs that I've written, but definitely it's one of my favorites.
Any stories that you've heard from fans of either The Voice or of just you in general that have really resonated with one or both of those songs that you think are really interesting?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I Would Have Loved You. I think, I get more messages and stuff about that song about breakups and things like that. And hey, I just, I'm trying to find a light and going through this divorce and trying to find a light in the moments and stuff like that. And this song was that, and with Love Out of Time, there's been a few people that have talked about, how they kind of felt that same way. You're all in with somebody and that person's not in the same place as you are. And so you're kind of, just treading water. But I think that's the beauty of being a songwriter is being able to help create something and then it impacting somebody on some kind of level. It's more than just a song to them. It's something that touches their life, whether it's their memories or their experiences. And so it's been really special. But I think I've easily gotten more comments about I Would Have Loved You just because, I think everybody's been hurt at some point in their life. And so, unfortunately, but yeah, people have really resonated with that song.
Love hearing that. Love hearing stories of just fans, how they connect, because I think that's one of the coolest parts about being an artist is you connect with people that you would have never thought would hear what you do, hear what you create. And that just builds a whole another level of community that I feel like our world does need in this time.
Absolutely.
I want to hear some advice. Do you have any advice for someone who is on the path to creating something, whether that be music, whether that be a show, and they're kind of in this limbo of like whether or not to let their steady income go or not? Like, what was that like? I want to hear that experience of what that was like for you of determining, like, we're going to go full on music.
I think I had, when I made that decision, that was probably one of the hardest decisions because I had a little girl at the time as well that, she became my focal point of everything of like, hey, I can't leave a job because I have to provide for her. And so when I made that decision, like I had said earlier on, it's a matter of peace. You just kind of go where the peace goes and kind of go where God directs you. But if I can offer any kind of advice is don't doubt yourself. I am the king of doubting myself. I'm the king of going, I'll never be able to pursue music as a full-time job because I'm just not that talented. People aren't going to like the music I write. I can't be on that show because, gosh, everybody else is better vocalists than me and this and that, And I mean, you can easily find yourself doing that in every aspect of life. And when it comes to creating especially is because you're being the most vulnerable you can be to take something that you're creating, whether it's your brainchild, whatever it is, and then putting it out there for everybody to see, whether it's a script, a book, a song. And that's very vulnerable because, you run the risk of it flopping and, you taking that as, oh, nobody likes what I'm doing. I'm never going to, measure up to anybody. When in reality, that flop is just a matter of perspective. You could have reached the people that really needed to hear that. And, who cares about what anybody else thinks,
Right.
If it means something to you and it's able to touch somebody else, that's all that matters. And so I think just don't doubt yourself, have confidence in who you are and what God created you to do, and just go, what's the phrase nowadays? Full send, just go all in, just rock and roll. I heard that the other day. I was like, what in the world does that mean? But go full send on it, and just go all in on it.
Favorite. That's one of my favorites. That's the moral of this interview. Full send. Don't doubt yourself.
Full send. Yes.
That's awesome, Jake. Well, congratulations on everything. You're going to be performing a song for us in just a moment. What song are you going to be performing today?
So on the new EP, Love Out of Time, there's a song I actually wrote with Danny Myrick and Kylie. Actually, this one was written with Danny and Olivia Rudine. And I told him, I said, I just want some song that, you can almost slow dance to. It's kind of got that honky tonk feel. And so it's called Something We Can Slow Dance To. All the all-nighters are off the clock. They're riding high and ready to rock. Girls like girls in a corner booth, taking lemon drop shots, choosing dare over truth. Dive bar rock stars got the place turned up. Dance floors an ocean of solo cup. But I ain't feeling that feeling tonight. I'm busy drowning in your pretty brown eyes. We got a couple of stars and neon lit, pair of honky-tonk cars, Friday night beds. All we're missing is the sound of a put my arms around the tune. So come on, cover band, there's something we can slow dance to. Rap songs might make some tips. Boys, if you really want to make those Benjamins, kick off a love song that's a little bit slower. Now break the bank to get her head on my shoulder. We got a couple of stars and a neon lit, pair of honky-tonk cars, Friday night beds. All we're missing stars and a neon moon, pair of honky-tonk hearts, Friday night boots. Can I get some Brooks and Dunn? What's a country boy gotta do? So come on, cover band. Come on, cover band. Come on, cover band. And something we can so dance to. Give us something we can so dance to.
Love it. That's awesome. What's funny is you mentioned Brooks and Dunn literally in the lyrics towards the end. And the whole time I'm thinking this should be another duet opportunity with them. So that's
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe one day. Yeah.
who knows. Maybe we're manifesting it right here.
There we go. And maybe I'll get Libby to sing on it, Libby, because she's as big as Stapleton, if you've heard, you know.
Maybe. I don't know. If I have another alternative that can somehow sing better than me personally can sing. Something we can slow dance to on the new EP, Love Out of Time, available now everywhere on all platforms. Where can people follow you?
People can follow me on Facebook at Jake Hoot, on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's jake.hoot.music. And then I recently started a TikTok. I posted 4 videos and I'm killing it. I think it's just Jake Hoot on there too, maybe Jake Hoot Music. Look up for the, crazy guy doing crazy things. But yeah, those are definitely, and then of course my website, jakehoot.com.
Well, thank you so much, Jake, for being on the show, for sharing your story, for your music. Really appreciate it and excited for what's ahead.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's the Libby Show. The Libby Show. It's the Libby Show. It's the Libby Show.